Hey guys, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and do the anxiety disorder video because there's only eight or nine slides to it. I figure we can do this in less than in 10 minutes or less. So I'll go ahead and start rolling on this, and we'll be pretty much caught up for the most part. So anxiety disorders actually encompasses a whole slew of disorders. It's a pretty large group of conditions where the primary symptoms are anxiety or defenses against anxiety. I feel like we've talked about this or maybe started this, maybe didn't get all the way through it. But generally, the patient fears something awful will happen to them. It's only a matter of time. Um, so, what is anxiety? It is a state of intense apprehension, uneasiness, uncertainty, or fear, or all of them together. I think at some point we've all felt some form of anxiety, but what makes people with this anxiety disorder is that it is a constant state. It happens and it happens multiple times for long periods of time. The first and probably the one that's most easily either identified and identifiable is generalized anxiety disorder, which is basically an anxiety disorder in which a person is continuously tense, apprehensive, and in a state of autonomic nervous system arousal. We talked about what the autonomic system does. That's essentially your fight or flight system. So you're always ready to run. The patient is constantly tense and worried, feels inadequate, is oversensitive, can't concentrate, and oftentimes suffers from insomnia. I'm afraid if these are times when a lot of these thoughts will roll over about your mind, in and out of your mind. The next type is panic disorder. This is a much more severe disorder or anxiety disorder. This is an anxiety disorder marked by a minutes long episode of absolute intense dread in which a person literally experiences terror and accompanying chest pain. A lot of times they'll choke or other frightening sensations. They feel like they're dying, to put it mildly. This is a horrible feeling that people will talk about or explain after it happens. Um, they feel like they're either having a heart attack or they're choking. And it says choking, um, and it can be rough. Uh, a lot of times these can cause secondary disorders such as agoraphobia. And speaking of phobias, that brings us to the next group of anxiety disorders. Of course, we know phobias generally is a fear of something. With phobias, a person experiences sudden episodes of intense dread, um, usually caused by something that is, um, what's the word? It's unlikely to happen, whatever the issue is. So some of the biggest ones, of course, fear of snakes, arachnophobia is fear of spiders, but there are also things like fears of parties or different fears of social situations, and things like that. And I'm not going to click that link, I think, because I don't think it works, or maybe it does. Yeah, I guess it does. So here is the phobia list. If you want to go to it on your own, it might be interesting to look at. The list literally is phobialist.com. It's right here. Um, and this lists all of the named phobias at this point. So as you can see, there are a lot. I'm going to have to bring this closer because I don't have my glasses on. You probably notice I'm squinting. But for example, macrophobia is a fear, think about this, an intense dread of long waits. Another one is megalophobia, fear of large things. Um, as opposed to microphobia, which is a intense dread or fear of small things. So I would encourage you to take some time, go to phobialist.com and just take a look at these. Some of them you may be surprised at some of the ones that you see. All right, so let's move on. Next is obsessive compulsive disorder. Now that I'm going through this, I think I have mentioned most of these. Maybe it was in a different PowerPoint, but we're focusing in on it. An anxiety disorder characterized by unwanted repetitive thoughts, which are the obsessions, and or actions, which are the compulsions. So, and it's important to make sure you know the distinction between the two. Obsessions are the thoughts, and that they're repetitive. They repeat over and over. That creates the obsessive thought, which then will lead to or can lead to actions, which are the compulsions. You know, somebody is afraid of getting sick. They may, something that they obsess about it. They may compulsively, continually wash their hands. What makes that different, I think I've talked about this in class, what makes that different from, say, just when we walk out a door and hit the Germ-X bottle, is that most of us, I know I do, will hit that just out of habit. I do it without thinking. I walk out a door, I see it, I just get the Germ-X and wipe it up, or rub it up. People with obsessive compulsions, they do that because they think about it. It's not a habit. They're seeking out the Germ-X because they're afraid they're going to get sick, and it's an unnatural amount. Obviously, if you've we were just in New York City with senior trip. There are certain places we visited. We definitely wanted to take some hand sanitizer and put it on, especially after going through the subway. But the people who suffer from OCD will do that over and over and over again because it's the obsession that's in their mind. So that's the difference. Common examples of OCD, contamination, fears of germs. The compulsion would be washing, imagining having harmed self or others. The compulsion would be repeating, imagining losing control of aggressive urges, so you're always checking stuff. Intrusive sexual thought or urges, so touching, excessive religious or moral doubt, counting. No. I'm sorry. These are the obsessive compulsions. These are obsessions. These are the common compulsions. They are not the same. They don't always correspond with each other. So these are the common thoughts. These are common compulsions. They may not necessarily go together. So forbidden thoughts, need to have things just so, need to ask or tell or confess. So the common compulsions would be washing, repeating, checking, touching, counting, ordering, or arranging. Hoarding is a common compulsion. We may watch a video on hoarders in a couple days, and then or maybe compulsive praying. Explanations for anxiety disorders. Of course, this is going to be dependent upon where you fall on the spectrum of the different types of psychology. I'm kind of late. My brain's kind of slow firing right now. One of them would say you learn through conditioning. That would be the behaviorist style, correct? Of course, the evolution, genes, physiology. All these are different explanations for why anxiety disorders happen. So, anyways, there's a quick rundown of anxiety disorders. I'll probably have you watch this Monday as well since it's fairly short, and then we'll do some stuff with it. We're going to do some diagnosing a little later, which will be fun. So, anyways, hopefully we won't have to watch this at all, and I'll just do this for next year. So, anyways, I'll catch you later. Peace out.